Hey, good evening, guys. Good evening, guys. Back again after a little break. First week I wasn't feeling well, so we knocked it to the following week. Then obviously we had the international, so people, my guests were doing other things, so that I let it go to this week. But we're back. We're back for another FANZ FIESTA show at FIESTA, episode 3 of the FANZ FIESTA show, and I've got some lovely guests in the background waiting to come in and have a little chat. But before I start, please like and subscribe to the channel. Like and subscribe to the channel, or also comment and share the content. Share all around, help this community grow. So I have got my trusted, friendly rival. We're good friends, even though he supports the evil team. I've got Hot Fuzz. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. Sort of closing out a 2-week holiday for myself and making the most of time that I've got and enjoying my sleep-ins. Wake up in the afternoon, go to sleep at midnight every night, sometimes 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and not pay the price for it. But back to work setting soon, and back to reality, being pulled back down to earth with having to support United again.
There you go. And we will get into that, don't worry. John Sinclair, how are you, sir? My friendly George friend.
Big up to you, Anfield, and big up to you, Fuzzy. Hope you're well. Thanks for having us on, and it's good to see you back again.
Yeah, we're very good. We're good. Now, here is the poshest Arsenal fan of the all. You don't get more posh than this. Posh Bertie. How are you, sir?
Good day. Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. Good to be back on your channel. It's been a while, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Also, the big boss himself. What can I say? This guy does not need any introduction. Mr. Lee Meadows. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, everybody. Hello, panel. It's good to see you all. It's really good to be back on Uncle Roger's channel. It's good to have a little chat with all of you about, finally some proper football going on.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been yeah. I know, and we got another one coming in November, haven't we? We got another one.
Can't wait.
Big up, Pain like Bane. He says late as per usual. Well, a little bit late. I'll give you that one. It was a little bit late.
No, we're right on time, Rod. You're scheduled at 8:15.
Well, actually, that's true. Actually, that is very true. That's very true. Well, I'll take that back,
mate.
I'll take it back. Ravi, our loyal supporter, Ravi said, "Big up the Massive and crew, Rods and the gang, rolling true for all of you to see." Yeah, big up, Ravi, man. Your supporter. Big up, Andy, because big up Uncle Rods and Fuzzy. Yeah, but big up. And he says, "Hi, John. Hope you are well."
Big up.
Big up. So, first off, we're going to touch on Man United. We're going to touch on Man United first. As you're the nearest one to me, Hot Fuzz. Sorry about that. We are going to touch on Man United and what's going on right now. So, obviously, I'm going to come to Hot Fuzz first, but I'm going to go around the table and get, obviously, everybody's views on the situation. As we know, Man United had a very good start to the season. They've lost. Got two losses you got?
So I lost to Brighton, lost to Liverpool, and lost to Tottenham. 3 losses.
Yeah, 3 losses and 1 win, isn't it?
No, two wins, I think it is.
Yeah, it was 2 wins.
And Fulham, yeah.
Yeah. You're right. So I'm gonna Fulham. But look, so it's not really good. I mean, after the last game with Liverpool, there was going to be sort of talks, and talks did happen after the Tottenham game. Do you know what I mean? Talks did happen, and it looks like for the foreseeable future, Ten Hag is the man. Is the man that's going to be at the helm. They have recently sacked Sir Alex Ferguson. He's been sacked from whatever post that he's got with Man United. So,
Kicked out from ambassadorial position.
Yep.
Still kept around the club in other capacities, but just not getting paid about $2 million a year, I think it is, just to basically sit somewhere in the stadium.
And then hang around like a bad smell, bless him.
Yeah, I get it that a lot of people are just like, oh, why would you ever treat a legend like that? And I see people from rival clubs saying it as well, like, oh, you treat your legend with disgrace, and some people laughing about it. It's like, look at the state of that club. I'm just like, but you're paying £2 million a year to somebody who's not really doing anything for your club. Like, cut through all the meat and bones. It's not really much substance to an ambassador, apart from going into the dressing room occasionally and being able to speak to players and intermediaries. And that's one of the things that they've also implemented, is a ban for people from the boardroom going into the dressing room. Now, that being a revelation to some United supporters, that board members have been going into the dressing room quite often, perhaps is an essence that it undermines the managerial position a little bit, where it's like the manager doesn't really get to be the sole importance or figure of importance in that dressing room, because then you can get post-match or half-time team talks, and then somebody from the board comes in, and I've made this example to Early Doors yesterday on the good, the bad, and the ugly, that if you, for example, yourself in your workplace are going to do a team talk, pet talk, inspirational speech to your team, and then your big bosses come in and then they sit off in the corner of your eye, and then they're just like, all right, let's hear you speak. That's a lot of just unnecessary pressure. Like, this is my space, me and the players. This is where I'm most real to them. This is where the harshest criticisms will be, is in the moment. So it feels like they're trying to implement this sort of let him have his environment to focus on doing his job, so that there's absolutely no doubt if there is problems, if there's something which is there's disconnects or players not understanding or not fulfilling their tasks. In essence, it basically says the manager is the only person that could fix that situation, and it's not like he's not quite cut out to do it. The response, the results are not, then they're not feeding back in a positive light. That's when I think the decision as to what you do with your manager becomes a lot easier, because you're not saying to a player one message as the board's members, and then the manager may be saying something else to them when you're not there. So it's like, as a player, if you've got one message from your manager as instructions like, oh, you need to be doing this, or why aren't you doing this, and then your board members come in, your big bosses that pay your paychecks come in and say, well, I expect you to do this and that, and it's different from the manager. It's like, as a player, what do you do? Do you obey the guy that gives you the instruction, or obey the guy that controls your contracts? Because you might be doing a great job for your manager, but then all of a sudden you find out, well, the guys up top don't think you're all that in terms of value to your club. They might look to sell you. That's like, so
they're literally getting mixed messages, isn't they? They're getting mixed messages, and I think that, for me, I don't know how you feel, John, about this. Don't you feel that in the day that we would undermine the team and undermine the performance of the team? Maybe that is the situation why they're misfiring, because they're getting, mixed messages. Do you know what I mean? How do you feel about it, John?
About United, yeah?
Yeah. The fact that they sort of like, obviously they've sacked sort of like Sir Alex Ferguson, obviously banned him from sort of like the changing room. Do you know what I mean? But then that shouldn't really happen anyway, because the fact that you've got 10 out there, you've had your time, you've done what you've done, yeah. Nobody can take that away from you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now it's 10 out there. It shouldn't be a situation that they're listening to two people. You know what I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the way they treated Sir Alex, for me, I think it's disgraceful. I think it really is disgraceful, in my opinion. I mean, he's a legend there, and even Cantor's come out and said that he should stay as long as he lives until he's no longer here, right? I think the way he built the club, and he's been there for, what, 27 years, and he's won everything, yeah? So in us come in and say, right, you know what? We're going to give it a bit of time. We're not going to do it straight away, right? We're going to do it our way, yeah? So now Fergie's gone. Well, he will be gone, unfortunately, right? It's not good. It's not good for the club. I think it's embarrassing. And they banned Christmas parties as well. I might be wrong on that. Yeah? But I think you need to get themselves sorted out on the pitch first and sort that out, because at the minute, the performance this season has been absolutely poor this season. They're 14th for a reason. That ain't good enough for Man United. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world. And to see them 14th, it's just embarrassing, yeah? Do you see Real Madrid with Barcelona being 14th? I tell you what, their manager would have been sacked, yeah? But the club's a mess in a minute, and unfortunately, that football club should be fighting for titles every single season, and they're not. The players they got there aren't good enough. They're not performing, yeah? And they have spent 1.6 billion quid, right?
It's some money.
That is a lot of money. That is a hell of a lot of money. 1.6 Bs. And they have not got a league title to show for it. That is embarrassing, man.
That's almost better as Chelsea, isn't it?
It's exactly. But listen, right, I mean, Ten Hag has been lucky at the minute. Right? I mean, look, for me, I mean, I don't think Fuss is going to agree with this yet, but I think Ten Hag, right? I think the players got some responsibility as well. But when I listen to Ten Hag's interviews, it doesn't make sense most of the time. I'm not going to lie to you, but at the end of the day, and the bottom line is, right, he needs to fix up real quick. He needs to get results and wins as well. because if he doesn't get this Brentford game coming up on Saturday, it's going to be a massive game for Ten Hag.
Yeah.
And Brentford are a decent side. Brentford can score goals and actually upset a few teams along the way. However, if they lose on Saturday, I think they're screwed. I think Ten Hag could be done. He could be screwed as my new manager. And I think, and the players he bought, he's trying to turn into Ajax. Yeah, it's clearly not working. I mean, Mamasuri, the Moroccan, I think he's a decent player. Martinez is a decent defender. He really is. I think Xerxes, I watch Bologna, he'll come good in time in the Premier League. He needs a bit of time in the Premier League. Yeah. But there's players there are just not good enough. I'll ask you a question, right? I'll ask you a question to Fuzzy, right? Garnacho, yeah? If you give marks out of 10 for this guy, how many marks out of 10 would you give as a player? And do you think he'd be at United long term? Do you think he's good enough?
Well, as somebody who's recently come through from the academy, I think it's a case that for a certain period of time you say, well, give him the benefit of the doubt to allow him to grow out a little bit as a player. But once you sort of get to a point, we've given him a substantial amount of time to really sort of see how much depth he has as a player. I'd say at the moment, if I were to give him out a 10 as far as ability goes, I'd probably say about a 5, like split down the middle. Because I mean, some days you get a good and efficient player on the left or the right, and other days he'll be doing all sorts of things, but he'll be failing quite miserably, like no real impact or presence on the pitch. Inconsistencies as well to his physicality. I don't feel like he uses his body enough in the right way during games. So as far as being a long-term aspect of the team, absolutely not. I don't think he'll be here long-term. And I see some people be like, oh, we've got to be careful. We might lose Garnacho. I'm like, I've got no problem with losing Garnacho. If we cash in on him and get a decent fee for him, he's quite easily replaceable. There's loads of players out there that can do the same, if not a better job than him, which you could probably sign for less money than you would probably make from selling the guy.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I wouldn't have him at Newcastle United. I wouldn't have him at Newcastle.
Not when you've got Gordon and Harvey Barnes there. There's just not really a place for him to get in.
The only problem with Harvey Barnes that I'll probably get onto it later. The only problem that I have with Harvey Barnes is his injury record. You know what I mean? As a player, I think he's a good player. You know what I mean? But like, if I was gonna have him in my squad, yeah, right. If he's gonna come to Liverpool, one of the things that I'll be worried about is his injury record. You know what I mean? He's injured. Posh Bertie, do you think that Ten Hag should have been sacked, or do you think they made the right decision in keeping him on?
Well, I was surprised that he wasn't sacked after the Villa game, especially when you've got an international break coming up and more time to sort various issues out. I know they didn't lose, but I still think that based on where they are in the league and Ten Hag beating his own record in terms of worst start to the season, I think it probably should have been dismissed as United manager, and it probably would have been the better decision because you would have probably got someone like Thomas Tuchel in charge, and now he's the England manager, and now there's not, in terms of world-class managers that are available now, I don't see anyone there. So I think it was probably the right decision for Ten Hag to be sacked come the international break, but for whatever reason, they didn't. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you've got the Brentford game coming up, and as John said, Brentford are a decent side. They can score goals in the first 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be, I think every game now is a make or break for Ten Hag. We've been saying that constantly now. So, yeah, I'm just a bit shocked as to why he was sacked. He wasn't sacked in the beginning of the international break, because I think Thomas Tuchel would have been a good manager for United. He was available, and now he's the England manager, which I'm not complaining about because that's great. But yeah. I'm shocked.
Yeah. So, what's your feelings on it, Lee? Should he have got sacked or should he have kept him on?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Posh in a way that obviously this season's not started well. When your new season doesn't start well, questions are going to be asked. But then Ten Hag has got a couple of things in the bank. He's got a couple of trophies in the bank, right? And that's quite often the argument me and Posh have on Going to Gathering is that but Mikel Arteta's only won one trophy in 5 years or something.
Ten Hag's won 2 in 2 years.
Yeah, there you go. But the thing is, because Ten Hag won the FA Cup last year in the manner he did it, I think he actually managed to give himself a bit of extra time, if you like. He's kind of prolonged the agony for himself, I think, in a way, and I don't mean it to sound disrespectful at all, because the guy's won a couple of trophies and he's in his history. Obviously, at Ajax is good, but you can't deny that the league form, which is ultimately what we're all judged on in the season, is the long haul, the marathon of the league games. United have not started well. Had our sides altogether, like Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, started like this, we'd be asking questions about our managers, wouldn't we?
Yeah, facts.
I will say one thing before I go on to the next point about Ferguson as well.
Oh yeah, go on.
It's interesting because we always see him, don't we? We always see him in the crowd wherever they go, and it's like it's mentioned in the comments there. What's it all about when the camera pans to him every time that United concede a goal? It happened with us every time that Raya conceded a goal with let's put the camera on Ramsdale. It's like looking for get a reaction out of him and something. Now, imagine if say like Arsene Wenger, say he kept it. Now he's not made a habit of coming back to the Emirates. I think it's because one of the reasons because he doesn't want to feel like to be part of the it almost feels a bit awkward in the way that put him in there. He gets all the attention and takes it off the manager and the players. Fergie's there all the time. Now I understand what John was saying, and this is the quote from Cantona in the papers the other day about it's a disgrace the way they treated him and everything. But with all due respect to Sir Alex Ferguson, I don't think it's necessarily helping him because of the stature of his name and his history at the club at Man United. It's not necessarily helping whoever's in the dugout because you've gone through a few, and consistent problems keep on rolling through it.
Yeah.
What do you think, mate? Do you agree with me, Hot Fuzz?
Yeah, I mean, just the generic situation, just Manchester United all over. To be honest, it's just there's so many different parts of it where I feel like, especially with Ineos, perhaps all of this whole sacking certain people. I mean, some reports and medias have been speaking about it being part of a cost-cutting exercise. How Man United, the total staffing at the club, was by and large, or by far, the most amount of staff employed by any club in the Premier League, and we're talking by several hundred more than the next biggest staffing team from a Premier League club's perspective. So, of course, I think one of the most generic things to have done is to cut the staffing down. To save how much money is being spent for parts of the team that are meaningless. Now, especially when it comes to the football side of things, there's a lot of people that would say, well, why have they not made decisions now? The situation's quite trash. United sat in 14th place. Any other club, in the top 6, that would be sat in 14th at the moment, maybe barring Spurs, of course, but Spurs are Spurs, and Arsenal at some points were in relegation zone under the early years of Mikel Arteta. I don't know what the resolve for Ineos is for them to say that enough is enough. We don't know yet because they've not sacked a manager for Manchester United yet. They've not had to so far based off of their criteria. I think in terms of the short-term plan, I think the fact that Ruud van Nistelrooy and also Rene Heck are there as first-team experienced managers, they can just take over on, on a whim out of nowhere. They can say, well, Ten Hag, that's enough is enough. See you later. Pay off the contract and then bring Ruud straight into the first team picture and take over from there as interim. And we'll sort out we'll see how it goes, and we'll plan to sort out the full-time permanent manager in the summer, when I'm sure more managers will be happier to leave their clubs at that portion of the season. So I know the results aren't good at all. They're not very good. There's no understating that. I personally believe that Ten Hag should be sacked on the basis that for the players he has got this summer, you can do better with that. You can do more with that in terms of team selections, in terms of how you handle the squad, or the substitutions you make. What's your plan B if plan A is not working?
Yeah.
We're seeing mistakes that he was making in season 1 and season 2, but you're now in your third season, and it's like you're still only just arrived in the summer and are finding your feet. How is it possible for somebody to take that long in that stage of your managerial career, with the experience you have and the quality as a manager you have, to still be not really knowing what the best approach in the Premier League or in Europa League, what the best approach is going to be, and knowing what your best team is going to be? Whereas Arne Slot can walk into Liverpool, albeit not much has changed from Jurgen Klopp, but he's still had to walk into a new setup and is already playing a much more scintillating. He's up to speed. He is up to speed. He's got a tune out of certain individuals in that team, and everyone is on more or less the same page. I think you could have had a little bit more backing in the summer, another 2 or 3 players at least, to really reinforce that season, to really knuckle down. But I think maybe expectations were not, we're just definitely going to be competing for a league title and winning one. Whereas where you find yourself at the moment, you're thinking, but what if? What if? Yeah. So Ten Hag in his position, it's like, well, what do you do in your situation? I don't know if the players are, they've thrown the white towel in on him, whether there's players there, because I mean I see it every week.
Sometimes, to be fair, sometimes some of the times of the day, some of the games I've seen that Man United played, talking from the perspective of not of a rival, just a football fan. Some of the games I've seen Man United play, it looks like they have thrown the towel in a certain game. They certainly did with FC20. You know what I mean? Like,
they did against Spurs as well. I mean, everybody got like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
3 out of 10. Everybody.
Definitely did against Spurs. And to be honest, certain day, right? Yeah, I think they could have beat Spurs. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Bajan Barnes said, "Big up Uncle Rods and bless to the panel." Big up Bajan Barnes, man. Big up Bajan Barnes. Do me a favor, Ravi, if you're still in the chat, put his link in the chat so people can subscribe to his channel. I have got a question here for Bertie. Come from Anthony Herbert. Question, Bertie: how is your Arsenal team doing in the Premiership 24th?
I haven't played that game in a while, and because there's going to be FM25 is going to be delayed until March, I might bring it back. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, thank you, Anthony, for your question.
He needs to bounce back, don't you, mate? You need to bounce back after defeat in the Champions League final.
Yes.
Sorry to bring that up, mate.
Great. No. Good to see you, Anthony, and good question.
Derek, Sarah, he said, "Evening, guys. Zooming in on Sir Alex Ferguson. Every time a goal is scored, against Man U. What's that about? I think you alluded to that, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you did allude to that. Question, this will come from Mama Flossie. We got some more Flossie. And also, Derek, please hit the like and subscribe button. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Mum Flossie says, question, Anthony, what do you think of the new England manager? Which one's Anthony? Or anybody? Is there anybody can answer
Let me throw it to my broadcast colleague because he's got a lot to say on the Ten Hag situation. Sorry, not the Thomas Tuchel situation. Go ahead, sir.
Wash Bertie, take it away, sir.
So no, I you throw me off there, put me on the big screen there. But no, I think it's a very good appointment. I do. I think I've said before the England team is full of great players, but we're missing the world-class manager that can get us over the line and actually win something and end all those many decades of hurt without a major silverware. Thomas Tuchel, I think, can be that guy. He's done well in England before with Chelsea winning the Champions League. And overall, I think he's a good manager, especially in tournaments. And I think anyone, I know there's a lot of people who are upset by Tuchel's appointment simply because he is not English, and those people need to get a life, in my opinion, because he is a very good manager. And he is, as I said, the best chance we've got in a long, long time of actually bringing football home, in my opinion. So I'm all for it. I said before, I don't care if the England manager is not English as long as he brings football home for me. And let's not forget, the manager who won the Women's Euros with the Lionesses was Dutch. So it doesn't make a difference what nationality you are. If football comes home and you're responsible for it, that's all fine by me. And I think Thomas Tuchel is an excellent appointment.
No, I totally agree. I always said it, Lee. I don't care about the person's nationality. I just care about the right man for the job. That's what I'm saying. The right man for it. I don't care about his nationality. All they say, he has to be English, No, he doesn't. He has to be the right person for the job. Now, if the right person for the job is Portuguese, French, Italian, German, Dutch, or whatever it may be, well, then you do it. Just get it done, because other sort of like nations at the end of the day, other nations like, Spain and all sort of teams like that, right, don't necessarily have like a Spanish coach or Portuguese coach. Or
Roberto Martinez is Spanish and he's managing Portugal.
Yeah, exactly.
He's having a Scotsman in charge of England.
Yeah, and he got the things about him, though, right? He was before that he was managing Belgium, wasn't he? He was with Belgium for years, and then he come to sort of like Portugal. So to me, it's all about the right person for this job. So please, people, just can this narrative that it has to be English. Stop all that. You know what I mean?
Can I come into that as well?
Yeah.
I was spoke to someone yesterday, right? I posted out a tweet, right? And there's a last called Alice Talks Football, and she posted out a tweet about Tuchel's record. Big up to Alice, by the way. You're fantastic. She's the real one, right?
Listen.
She's the real one.
Let me just stop you there for a second. I have to big up Alice, and she is amazing. And I'm gonna try and get on a show that I'm doing, because her insight on football. See, she's a Man United supporter, but she's unbiased. She'll break down other teams at the day and tell you the good and the bad of that team. Do you know what I mean? Why she'll tell you, if she calls something a baller, she'll tell you exactly why she calls that person a baller, and she'll bring up stats and show you. She's amazing. Sorry, carry on.
No, and the fact of the matter is, right, she brought up yesterday all the stats. Yeah. Now I've done exactly the same thing, similar to what Alice has done, right? And there's someone on there last night had a go at us on social media saying that particular person, right, does not want Thomas Tuchel there because it's not English. And also she said to us that I was digging out Gareth Southgate. Can I just tell everyone, please, in the chat and in the room, I did not diss out Gareth Southgate. That's number one. Secondly, right, he's done a good job, right? The way he's taken us, he's led on the base. He's the Marcuse of international football, right? Now, I'm not having a go at him, right? But can he get us over the line? And the answer to that one is no, he cannot get us over the line. We got us to the final twice, didn't get us over the line. Now, if Tommy T come in and get there and get to the final, that guy would take us over the line. And I tried to explain to this person, right, because I'm not going to name, now I've been blocked, right, which I was quite shocked, yeah, but never mind. But I spoke the truth. And that person said that she doesn't agree of saying about Tommy Tuchel being sacked by 3 clubs, right? But yes, he may have been sacked. One of them, it's all because there wasn't results on the pitch, guys. He got sacked because he didn't get along with the sporting director and he was having arguments. You know, that's the reason why. It wasn't results. It's just other things, yeah? But unfortunately, all right, we, as fans, you speak the truth and some don't like it. And I'll just say it now quickly, right, because I'm boring you guys. Thomas Tuchel is the right guy for England, right? He will take us there. If he gets to the final, he's going all the way. Yeah, and that is it.
Yep. Yeah,
Doesn't matter where you're from.
I agree. I totally agree. You know what I mean? It just started. I just want people to get off this narrative, right? That sort of like, you know, he has to be the nationality of the country that he's managing. He doesn't. If that's the case, then right? Well, get rid of all the sort of like foreign players that's playing in the Premiership.
Yeah,
get rid of all the foreign managers. You know what I mean? You know.
I do.
Yeah. Sorry, do you want to say something, Lee?
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted the England manager to be English, I mean, the only English manager that is doing anywhere near it, any bits in the Premier League is at John's club. It's Mr. Eddie Howe, right? Yeah. And quite honestly, I don't see Eddie leaving Newcastle. I don't know if is literally anybody qualified enough. I didn't personally. This is just my opinion. When Southgate got that position after, similar to Carsley, right? He was at the under-21s, then he got over to the main job, right? I was like, well, hang on, this guy, all right, he knows football. He was a good player back in his day, but does he have the top level experience? His brand of football didn't excite me. I will give him credit because he did take us to 2 finals. Yeah. But honestly, it was painful to watch. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. And otherwise, I will get pulled out by Bertie, and I'll say, no, I'm not having a pop at you, mate. I'm not, because what did I say to you off air the other day? You
originally said you weren't a fan of the appointment.
Exactly. I wasn't a fan, and the reason why I wasn't exactly thrilled about it, I think, was partly to do with the fact that my Arsenal bias was taking over my brain a little bit, right? And it kind of overthought the fact that actually the guys actually picked up trophies, and ultimately that's what football's supposed to be. I'm kind of going towards Bertie's way of thinking in terms of, you know, it probably is the most. It's probably the most qualified person to actually be in the job because he was available, and he's got the background to do it.
Yeah.
So there you go, Bertie. That's for you, sir.
You know what it is, though?
You actually thought the same as me for once. It's very rare it happens.
I know. But, I was shocked as well.
You know what it is?
Take my medication in a minute and go lie down.
Yeah. You know what it is? You know what it is? I think really and truly at the end of the day, right? If you look at it, he was the only person that he could get for a job that had the slightest experience to do the job that you want. He couldn't depend on Lee Carsley to do it. You know what I mean? Because I think at the day, getting somebody from like, from sort of like, you know, the under-21s and move up to the senior squad, and he does well, I think that only happens once in a lifetime. Do you know what I mean? Once in a lifetime. And lucky enough, it happened with Gareth Southgate. I rate Gareth Southgate, but there was a situation where he just couldn't get himself alive. I'm hoping that day that Tuchel can get us over the line. You know what I mean? Yeah. And watch what happens that day when Tuchel does get us over the line, right? All these people that day that said right that it has the manager has to be English. They will change their tune. I'm just waiting. I'm literally just waiting for that to happen. That a German manager comes in and gets England over the line. How ironic that'll be. That'll be quality.
Yeah.
That'll be quality. That's what it is. But
I wonder if those people have the same opinion if he wins the World Cup for England. If they still think, the manager should be English.
There you go. There you go. They're quickly going to change their mind. Posh. Quickly going to change their mind. Question from Rabbit. He said, "Question for all: what do you think for England will achieve that they didn't or did with previous manager?" I will go to Hot Fuzz first.
Oh, come again. What was the question?
This one here. Question for all: what do you think for England will achieve that they didn't or did with previous manager?
I think Thomas Tuchel being in charge. I mean, it's he's got a history or career thus far where he's won quite a few trophies. In terms of doing it through cup competitions, I think sometimes certain managers know how to get better from a team across, in single game instances such as knockout competitions. I think in Tuchel's case, I think his game management is far and away probably some of the better game management type managers that we've had for quite a while. So if he gets into these, the later stages of tournaments, such as your quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals against bigger opposition, you can trust that grade of manager to actually make the right call in the right moments of games, and the message to the players are clear, and the players respect that sort of authority and will run through brick walls for a manager like Thomas Tuchel. I think in terms of other managers we've had before, we've not really had certain managers have not had teams or been fortunate enough to have teams that are perhaps as good as the English team we have now. And then in Southgate's case, I mean, 8 years constantly, team carrying his tactical setup, getting into deep stages of competitions, but ultimately not seeing us cross the line because, again, Gareth Southgate, we would say, for people who sit at home watching the games, we say, you should make this decision at this time because, from our perspectives, we'd imagine it would make sense to do that. Plus, we're watching the game in live time, but then he'll wait off of substitutions or something, or make the wrong substitution. We're just like, not really. You're not doing what the opposition manager is doing, because they will see the game completely differently to our manager, and they'll be adjusting things, fine tuning the team as they go along. Gareth Southgate's just sat there with his waistcoat, just
waistcoat, you know.
I think. Well, yeah, waistcoat. And I think I should probably make that substitution in the 85th minute, or sub on an attacker who will most likely get us goals, and only give him 2 minutes to do so. And it's like, we need better. We did need better, especially in the game management side of things. And I think Thomas Tuchel is definitely somebody who can bring that for us. And hopefully, with tied in with a good quality squad, perhaps there's trophies to be won there.
Do you want to say something, Mister?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is the playing style, right? Now, I think we can all compare watching England sometimes to just watching a bit of paint dry. Certainly over the last few years, it's not been the most riveting football. It'll be very interesting to see how and if Thomas Tuchel adjusts the mentality of them England players to actually play at some sort of pattern that is very similar to what they do at club level. Look, we're used to our star boys, if you like, throughout all our sides, doing things that excite us and get us excited. Why we watch football. And I'll be honest with you, for the last few years. Sometimes, despite, and again, giving Gareth the credit for getting where he's got in terms of nearly but not quite. It's not been the most riveting football, has it? Is that fair?
John, what do you think, mate?
Just agreeing with most people said as well. Just going back about to achieve that they didn't. If you look at it now, right? I mean, they just, apart from Gareth, all the other managers just didn't get us over the line. That is the thing. I mean, Sven did his best. Alex Sven. Capello, you didn't know what was going to happen in the World Cup if he resigned. Also, as well, that Sam Allardyce didn't work out after one game. And less I say about him, the better. That guy needs to shut up, because I'll tell you something now, right? I mean, he said about those English managers is going to be put off. Yeah, I'll tell you what it is, Sam, because Eddie Howe is not going to leave Newcastle United. There's no way he'll not be leaving. Knock him off the equation, right? Who else is good enough to take over England? Steve Cooper, not ready. He ain't good enough, yeah? No. Frank Lampard, waste of time, yeah? What has he won? He hasn't won now, has he? Yeah? Graham Potter got bombed out by Chelsea because the club was too big for him, yeah? We are lacking of English managers in this country, because you know why? Because we've got too many foreign managers in this country. That is the thing. We haven't got enough English managers that's going to come in, rock it up, and take that through the mantle, yeah? There's 2 English managers that take that job, right? But not yet. One's Eddie Howe, or one is Kieran McKenna. The rest of them,
Ipswich, yeah.
The rest of them are just not cut out for it, because they're just not good enough.
Apparently Frank Lampard was in the mix. He was in the mix.
Well, the thing is, though, Rods, I mean, apparently, according to England, they spoke to 10 managers, and they kept it confidential, yeah? Who were those 10? Eddie Howe wasn't one of them. Is he making up numbers? Yes, Lee was one of them.
I had to turn it down for YouTube commitments.
There you go. Same here. But you know what I mean, though, guys? I mean, look, that is the problem. You look at the Premier League, right? The top 6 have got foreign managers, yeah? Not many. You go to the Championship, that's too much of a gamble to take them anyway. Do you know what I mean? I'm not being funny.
It's not a little gamble, it's a big gamble.
There isn't there? Are you going to take out someone like Chris Wilder or Scott Tarker out of their clubs to manage England? They're not big enough. They're not big enough names. And this is why you've got to get the best manager available. Tommy T was the best available. He was free.
Oh, yeah, by
contract. And you'd have to pay compensation for him, you know? I'll ask you a question, right, guys, before I show, right? If Pep Guardiola was named England manager today, all this meltdown would never happen. They would have just said,
of course.
They wouldn't.
Of course, it wouldn't have. It would never happen.
Why did they do it on Tommy? Why did they do it on Tommy T? Why?
You know what it is? They were literally rolled out the red carpet for Pep Guardiola. You know what I mean? I don't like to say this at the day, right? I think at the day, you know what? It's a German thing, yeah? I think it's a German thing, right? Because you got to think about it. Look at the amount of shit that Klopp got in the Premiership when he was there. You know what I mean? He got a load of shit. You know what I mean? They just don't want a German at the end of the day, right, to manage England. You know what I mean? Get over yourself.
I know Winston Churchill would definitely hate it.
I'll tell you one thing now, right? If we win the World Cup under Tommy, or European, right? If he's around, all these nayers and all these people being negative, or all these haters, right, will be hiding. They'll be hiding behind the mums, hiding behind the 4 walls, hiding behind their nanas, hiding behind their table, their bedrooms and that. Do you know what I mean? Because I guarantee you one thing, you won't hear none of them. I'm telling you.
You're going to hear them. You're not going to hear them, mate. You're not going to hear them.
I'm backing this manager.
Yeah, I'm backing him. No, I'm backing him. It's got my
interest. I'm going to do? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be brave enough to say it. It's the same sort of treatment that Bukayo Saka got when we were struggling through a qualifying game and the guy hadn't played any football, he come on the substitute, and England, the English media go and focus on someone who's an easy target. Who do they go and picture? They go and picture Bukayo Saka. It's the very same British media that make a big fuss over the German manager going to take over England. There's a certain tone of that which is very outdated and very wrong. I'd be brave enough.
No,
to
you're
say
right.
that.
You're right. I've got another question for all, and I'll start with Posh Bertie first. And it is question for all: is there too much praise for some teams compared to other teams in the Prem? I'll let you take this one first, Posh Bertie, my friend.
I'm not sure really. I don't know how to answer that. I've actually too much praise. I think last season there was a lot of more praise for Luton Town, even though they finished bottom of the league. And they were all saying, "Oh, this is great! Oh, Luton, they gave it their all. They finished bottom." I think that's what you're referring to. There was a bit of a, yeah, yeah.
What do you think, Lee?
I do think certain clubs, mind you, I think we're gonna say this and be protective of our own clubs, because I sometimes you look at, apparently we're Dark Arts FC all of a sudden now. That's like, right, I don't know, Arsenal through social media and everything, and and then some City Sat fans are going to be saying, "Oh, well, your press is being all against us because of Pep being successful. Nothing to do 115 charges or anything." I don't know if they've got certain agendas, but I think we all are very, very protective of our clubs. That's what makes it difficult to answer. And and because sometimes you get your fan base quite split. Sometimes, I mean, me and my boy here are great examples of that. Whereas I'm all for it, the direction the club's going with. There'll be other people who might be saying, "Oh, but he's not done it in all this years and all that, and I want someone else to come in." There's always going to be discussions amongst our fan bases.
Cool. Another question here: why do managers leave it late a lot of the time in games when it's clear to see that subs should be made earlier? Hot Fuzz.
The players that are manager, right, and it depends on how ballsy they are. If you're someone like Pep Guardiola, you're quite ballsy as a manager. You'll ruthlessly make a substitution for a player who could be a big difference maker. Whereas every other manager thinks about, I really don't want to lose this game, and my most trusted players are on the pitch. Now, there's quality on the bench I could bring off the bench, and they could make a difference. But that's just it. It's all could. And all the players that I've got on the pitch, I think, if we put it to 100%, maybe about 60% chance that they could make the difference, whereas the guys on the bench probably about a 50. I'd prefer having a 60% player on the pitch and keeping him there instead of bringing on a 50%. I think it's a sort of weird mentality that it does hold managers back. If all managers were really ruthless and they can see that one of the top stars on that team is really not pulling their weight and it's letting the team performance down, rather than keeping them on there and saying, but he's the star of the show, I'll say, I'm going to make you look like the peasant this week. And you'll understand when I sub you off and bring the youngster on, the whiz kid, 18-year-old whiz kid, stick him in your position and watch him embarrass you by making the difference and becoming this new star of the show. Because that's a motivated factor. Somebody who is the face of something, Marcus Rashford, ultimately having their levels pushed up because the whiz kid comes on, replacing him, pulls his weight, and ultimately Rashford goes, well, there goes my first team spot. I've got to pull my weight again.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Eddie Howe, I like the bloke, but I don't think he's cut out to manage England. Not just yet. He needs to move Newcastle forward first. That's coming from Richard Herbert.
Yeah, I can see where Richard's coming from. Really, I think Eddie needs to win something of us first before he thinks about going to England. To be fair, he's got to do it here first because I love Eddie Howe a bit. I mean, I'm backing this manager to do things. However, right, this could be a Mikel Arteta moment. Yeah, I mean, look, if he doesn't get us in Europe this season, right, I'm not going to call for his heat, but following season, if he doesn't get us European football the following season, then we need to get someone who can get it over the line. I mean, I'm not a happy clapper, but he's got. I'll give him time, but there's not much I can take because I want someone's going to come in and push us to the next level. Anyhow, it's got us Champions League, got us to the Carabao Cup final, right? And then the following season, got us to 7th. This season, with no European football, he's got to get us into Europe this season. He has to. Otherwise, I'll be worried for Eddie. I mean, I back him, but PIF and made it clear they want to be number one. They want to be number one. Can Eddie take us there? That is the thing. But we'll see what happens this season. But I'm backing him as long as he's here.
Cool.
The other thing there with Eddie is you've got to remember where Newcastle came from. I mean, they unfortunately had the indignity of slipping down the league, and then all of a sudden you're coming up. Eddie's got into Champions League, which is probably ahead of the schedule, I would imagine. But,
100%.
And then it almost puts the pressure on himself. Obviously, we're with that squad coming up, it's very difficult to maintain them standards and difficult to play all them games. And there's so many of them. There's even more this season. It's very difficult to get back up there. But like John said, I think Eddie's got enough money in the bank there to just keep his position there, and he needs the opportunity to go forward with Newcastle because he has done well there, and you have to. It's kind of difficult to say, but sort of control your expectations. If you see what I mean, when you have other clubs that maybe are more used to being in them top positions, if you get me, it takes a lot to dethrone the likes of a Manchester City, a Liverpool, a Chelsea, etc., an Arsenal, if you want.
True. Lawrence Watkins, afternoon from Lexington, Kentucky. Big up, man, big up. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Please do. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Ravi says, for me, you get that deemed the best for the job, not someone just fits the narrative. And that's what's been England's problem over the years. They have got people that just fit the narrative, not exactly the best person for the job. You know what I mean?
Got the same passport as everybody else in the English FA.
There you go, mate. There you go. Ravi says a lot of people overpraise Man City a lot. Yeah, they do. They do. Lawrence says maybe he's talking about the Big Six and everyone else. Yeah, I think he was. Ravi says even in World Cups, Real and Barca get overpraised too much. They do actually. They do.
That's reputation, though, isn't it? That's reputation from years gone by. I would imagine.
Yeah. You're not wrong there, Lee. Not wrong there. Shout out to John. I would love it if the Toon beat Chelsea in both Prem games.
You know what it is, right? That is going to be a really tough game for us against Chelsea, but we do our very best, Ravi. And the thing is with Chelsea, right? They're getting better and better on the Maresca. I know people say he'd be the first manager, Gio Cash should be sacked, but I tell you what, he has done an amazing job. I mean, Nicholas Jackson, right? I've said from day one, this guy is going to be hot. This season, yes, he missed a lot of goals last season, but this season, he's looking the part.
We'll see on Sunday, sorry.
For your sake, man.
Question for Arsenal away boys: how crucial for you are all the players you have out injured currently?
I think what he's trying to say is, how do you think we'll be coping
Yeah,
with
yeah,
potentially like the likes of Saka, who missed out for England, Martinelli, who never played for Brazil against Peru on the early hours of Wednesday. Is there any others that I'm thinking of missing out? Odegaard, Zinchenko, and Tomiyasu. So
yeah. Kai Havertz out as well. Kai Havertz injured, didn't he?
Kai Havertz pulled out for Germany. My personal feeling, obviously, the presser will be tomorrow. I'll be shocked if we don't see Havertz and Saka playing. I'm a bit concerned about Martinelli because although named amongst the substitutes on Wednesday morning, he apparently wasn't in a position to be warming up and such. Now that opens up a position for Raheem Sterling, certainly. Don't him. But bear in mind, Trossard's going to have to play. Well, here you go. The other option is Trossard will play into Martinelli's position, and then Ethan Nwaneri will come into the midfield, which isn't a bad idea, particularly on Saturday. That is a very, very real possibility. But it's a case of looking at some of the unknown quantity here, whereas I think Mikel's been a little bit conservative with him and being a bit cautious with him. He's made an impact when he's needed to come on, but I called for the young left back to play the other week, and he decided to go a little bit. I don't want to call it safer because you don't really want to see Thomas Partey playing at right back, but that's what he did. Apparently, Partey's fit as well. By the way, that's what I heard earlier on today, because he missed out international break as well.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. I like quite a lot of the players that you got in Arsenal, but Thomas Partey's not one of them. He's not one of them. I don't rate him. Don't really rate him. But I rate the rest of the all right. The likes of Odegaard, Kai Havertz, Rice, Justin Timber, and a few others that I rate. I don't.
Justin Timber.
Justin Timber.
Justin Timberlake.
Hey,
Julian
Timber.
Sorry, you better say his name before I get it wrong again.
Julian Timber.
That's the one, mate. That's the one. Not a single.
We'll be calling him Timberlake on the chat along on Saturday. Watch. Remind me, all right?
Yeah, he's good, but I'm not really too keen on Thomas Partey. But what's your causes?
Absolutely, everyone's going to have opinions. That's what the game is about, and that's why we love it.
There you go. Richard Herbert, Fuzzy, how are you going to introduce me to the others lads as the better brother this evening? Lots of laughing. Lawrence says
better than Anthony and Wurzel. And he did.
Jackson said, Lawrence and Watkins says Jackson is on fire this year. Yeah, but I still
making the big bucks on the goal scoring front, isn't he?
I still think he's beating teams and scoring against teams which you would think he should do. Do you know what I mean? That's just me. John, big up. I will send you your channel link.
Big up, Lawrence. Thank you so much. Send us a link, and then what I'll do, and I'm on Versus channel, and then I'll subscribe to you.
Cool, good. And Lawrence, do the same to me. I'll get the same. I'll get the link off you as well. Hot Fuzz, and I'll subscribe to his channel, man. I've got to support everybody. This is what it's all about. It's all about support. Do you know what I mean? And Ravi says, question for Fuzz. Are you a little doubtful with what Ineos will do for United?
There are doubts, but I think it's natural to have doubts with this, even though it's a new era per se. But I think for people who would compare Ineos to United, or Ineos at United to Ineos at Nice, is that they're two different clubs, two different leagues, two different positions, two different ambitions. One club is in a league where the finances aren't necessarily well split out. I mean, the French league is well renowned to all the other teams outside of PSG or Monaco really getting given a lot of money and allowed to spend, whereas in the Premier League it's a lot more balanced per se. But with Manchester United, and if you own Manchester United, you'd say the history beckons trophies, the expectation should beckon trophies, and the ambition has to be to win trophies. Whereas if you take over at Nice, you're not thinking about, oh, I want to win trophies today. You don't really have that sort of perception. So I think that, and it's not just that in terms of perception for people in Ineos, but it's also the people they've appointed. I can't imagine they're appointing the absolute best in class when it comes to club operations comparatively to people at Manchester United. They think, well, we need somebody who knows what they're doing and ideally better than what other clubs have, because that's the whole premise of trying to be the best. When you say you want to be the best, you go out and you get the best, because your actions ultimately speak louder than words. You don't say you want the best and then say, Darren Fletcher, good luck, mate. You're going to be the CEO of the club. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do it. So I think doubts, yes, because things can go wrong, and you have to stay open-minded to it. But at the same time, I think maybe a little bit overkill for people to say that Ineos is the worst thing to happen to Manchester United from the get-go.
Okay. Last question of the night goes to me. Goes to me. 'Cause I know you've got me off because obviously your device is screaming out for help.
It is. It's been a busy phone tonight. The joys of being a rock and roll superstar is what it is.
There you go. Last question goes to me, and it says here from Ravi. Question for Rod. Thoughts on how Liverpool can maintain this winning streak with this current style of football? It's not. The only way you can do it is maintain your concentration. Maintain your concentration, and hopefully people like Ryan Gravenberch and McAllister, mostly Ryan Gravenberch, has these fantastic performances that he keeps on being able to churn out every week. Do you know what I mean? No matter if he's playing at home or abroad. Do you know what I mean? He seems to be able to churn it out. Scott has actually found his place in the Liverpool team. He said, look, I see you as a six, a ball carrying six, you know what I mean? I can pass, defend, and attack. Do you know what I mean? I see you as that, and he's done it immaculately well. Keeping it tight at the back, right, with our defense. I mean, like you got the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Konate that are playing very well, and getting those goals. You know what I mean? And being prepared at the day to sort of like walk away with a 1-0. There's no shame in walking away with 1-0. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to batter teams every week. You know what I mean?
Worked for us for a whole generation, my friend. So absolutely right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's what you'll do. I mean, the fact is, Arne Slott's not like that. He's not that sort of like manager or head coach, you might call it. That sort of like says, right, let's go out and batter teams. He will get 1 or 2 goals up, and he said, right, you know what, Linday, we're going to control the game from now on. Because at the end of the day, we're winning, they're not. You know what I mean? So you just got to maintain the concentration, and maintain the level of performance that you have been putting in since the season started. You know what I mean? Because what you've done so far, at the beginning of the season, what you've done so far is working out very well. So keep it going, lads. Through that 3 minutes comments for go. You dare fuzzy, it's not that. Hi, Lawrence. That's come from Anthony Herbert. Also, question for all 3 players. I have to answer that next week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This one here. Lawrence is laughing, as usual. Hot Fuzz, Anthony just put the picture.
Yeah, if you watched yesterday's stream. You'll know what I'm talking about if you watch
Oh
it.
dear, chocolate milk is not good on a keyboard. No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna put your
Nor
shot-
coffee. All right.
Well, that's what Tony did. He I asked him a question, or people in chat asked Anthony for about the 5 millionth time what his thoughts on Thomas Tuchel are, and he's getting sick and tired of constantly getting asked that question. So whilst he's sat there trying to answer it, Tony just absolutely just mouthful of coffee, just blurts it out everywhere, all over his setup. So he's just like, I've got to go clean.
Triple H.
That I believe is called that's called the money shot. I think. I'll just say this:
Coffee shop.
We were talking. We're talking about unbeaten records and stuff. What a very difficult week both our clubs, Rods, have got. Because I believe you've got Chelsea coming up on Sunday. We've got Bournemouth. We've both got Champions League games, and then so we've got the Champions League game. Then we will see you on Sunday, mate.
Yeah, because we come to your ground on next Sunday, innit? Next Sunday.
Absolutely, and we
What
know
is
how
it?
tough that's going to be. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to it, and then we'll have a good idea of where we all going to stand in the table, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're very right. Hot Fuzz, tell them what you got coming up and where they can find you, mate.
So I'll just post that question there to Anthony in chat there. There we go. As for what I've got coming up, what I've got coming up is match preview tomorrow for the Brentford game on the Saturday, followed up by after the game Saturday post-match reaction, about 5 o'clock onwards or something like that. And then Sunday night takeaway on 8 o'clock on the Sunday with early doors and co. And after that, I think it's back into the grind of play weekend, midweek, previews, reactions, and all of that jazz, including news updates from the club when they come out with it. So, yeah, always a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for the invitation as always. No, it took a little bit of time to get there in the end. The amount of times I've come into the studio waiting for the show to go live, and then it just doesn't happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll come back. I'll come back next week. Eventually got there.
You know I love you, bro. You know I love you. John Sinclair, my good friend. Tell him what you got coming up and shout out your channel, my friend.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hot Fuzz, you didn't shout out your channel, my friend. You didn't
Hot Fuzz 44 AG.
Cool. Right. John Sinclair, take it away, bro.
No problem, man. Thanks for having us on again after all this time, and that's been brilliant. And right, I've got lots of things coming up. I'm going to do a new content as well. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And guys, I've got to. There's not many people here tonight, but I am going to do some hospitality match day vlogs. I'm doing about 5 or 6 at the minute, and I'm going to start doing low league games as well. So I'm a kid on the mystery one I'm going to go to, but I've got one lined up starting on Saturday, next Saturday, Bristol City against Leeds. I'll be there for my hospitality vlogs. I'll be checking out the ratings, the food, the people, the actual setup as well, and little stories as well. So please keep your eyes peeled for that. And I'll do lives and reviews and yeah, just anything really. Just check us out.
Cool. I like that. I like the sound of that, my friend. I love the sound of that. I'll take you off to
Thank you.
No worries. Got to give you guys the main stage to let them know about your channel and stuff. You know what I mean? So, take it away, Posh Bertie.
So you can find me on X at Posh Bertie. My Instagram's at Bertie Wanless, and I run Gooner Gathering's Instagram account, which is of course at Gooner Gathering. And of course, you can find me and Lee Meadows on our YouTube channel, which is Gooner Gathering. We're on the road to 400 subscribers now. We're currently at 351. So anyone in the chat can go and subscribe to our channel. It would be much appreciated.
You know what? That deserves it. I mean, that deserves a little celebration.
Yes, that is. That's exactly what I will not do if we get to 400 subs. Mainly because I cannot dance. But yeah, well, you can do it, Lee. I
I'll
won't.
do that.
I'll
You
do that
can't.
and play my guitar at the same time. How does that sound?
Oh
Lee,
God, I think we're going down in subscribers now.
Hey, yeah.
Start dancing so we can get the numbers back up. Quick. keep the viewers engaged.
Dance, Bosch, dance.
Lee,
a
shout
reference for you, mate.
your channel out and what you got coming up, my good friend.
Thank you very much. Yeah, guys, this has been really nice being up with you again. Yeah, obviously, Gunnar Lee Meads. You can find me on X and at Gunnar Gathering. Coming up on the channel, I believe we'll probably do a preview tomorrow of the game against Bournemouth. I believe we'll have a video come out over the weekend from Emerson Cozier, who will be covering the under-18s game, I believe. It's
Wicked. I think his thing went in it.
Oh yeah, his battery. He did say.
Battery the hold on. Where's everybody gone?
I'm still there.
You still here? What have I
Very,
done?
very, very strange.
What's that? Oh, hold on, one second.
There we go.
There we are.
Yeah, there you go. I think his battery died. His battery
He
died.
said it in
Listen,
yeah.
Anthony Herbert, he's an Arsenal supporter, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's an Arsenal fan.
Yeah. I spoke to him before. Lovely guy, man. Big up Anthony Herbert. Lovely guy. Lovely guy. Listen, I should be back tomorrow with the match preview for the Chelsea game. So we'll be back on there, and plus I'll be on my friend's channel in the evening as well. Later on in the evening, that's LRFC Forever. My good friend Fuzzy, I'll be in his channel doing another another preview. Do you know what I mean? And then you'll see me again next week with these lovely guys. I love chopping up with these guys. The guys are very good guys. Guys, you make sure you go out and subscribe to these guys' channels because they do brilliant work. They put a lot of effort into their channel. Do you know what I mean? So please go and support them. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It costs nothing to do that. That's what I'm trying to say. It costs nothing. Look at John. John says he's going to be going to literally all over Europe and they bringing new content. Do you know what I mean? That is worth at least 50 subscribers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? Then you got Hot Fuzz with his smooth, silky voice, the voice of reasoning. Do you know what I mean? That's worth 50 subscribers.
The voice for YouTube and the face for radio.
There you go. That's worth that. That's worth 50 subscribers, man. Get it in there. And you got Posh Bertie, the poshest Arsenal fan that I know today.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So they're worth at least 50 subscribers. So get on there, get the lights up, get the subscribe button up, please. Well, it's all about support. No matter what team you support, it's all about support. Do you know what I mean? It's all love around there. Do you understand what I'm saying? No toxic, just love around there. Do you know what I mean? So guys, thank you for joining me. Do you know what I mean? And I should be back tomorrow. All I've got to say to you guys and everybody in chat, good night and God bless. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and hit the share and comment. Good night, guys. Love and respect.
Respect.